Hi, welcome back to this episode of Gridiron TV. I'm your host, Stuart Young. I'm joined again by Alan Price. And on tonight's show, we're going to be joined by Pete Laird, who's going to be talking about the BAFCA conventions taking place across the UK later this month and in April. And we're also going to be talking about last week's playoff games and up-and-coming semi-finals as we approach the penultimate round of the University League. And also, we're going to be showing a video from Gareth Bateman all about the Hertfordshire Hurricanes. So stay tuned and don't go away. Hi, welcome back to Gridiron TV. I'm now pleased to be joined by the head coach of the Edinburgh and Napier Knights and also BAFCA coach Pete Laird. Pete, welcome back to the show. How did the rest of your season go?
Well, disappointing in the end. Unfortunately, we finished the season 3-5. We were pretty much down and out at Christmas, but we clawed ourselves back into 2 really good wins. Unfortunately, we just couldn't put that last win against the Predators, and therefore we just missed out on the playoffs this time.
Okay. I mean, obviously you've got a fair bit of time to regroup and reorganise for next season, haven't you? You're hoping to get a lot of freshers through the door.
Well, as I said, the players, as soon as the final whistle went, that's pre-season started. Because for us as coaches, we start the process of, we review the programme, we review the whole year. I usually get in touch with a couple of opposition coaches who I respect to come in and give me their opinion on the programme. And essentially we grade all our players, we look at them on film, and we try and get as much feedback to them as possible so that they know what they need to work on during the off-season, and then we just start targeting freshers as they come through the door.
Quite right. I mean, obviously a lot of your players will be going away playing the senior season as well come April. You're hoping obviously to be injury-free, come back, and when does it start, October?
For us, the students come back through the door mid-September.
Mid-September, okay. So
we'll be looking to recruit our freshers. We spend a week to 2 weeks just purely on getting freshers up to the grade and getting them to understand the game, because obviously we get a lot of players who've never played before. And then the senior players come in usually about 2 weeks after that, and then we back it out full tilt. You usually get about 4 weeks before you're
no rest for the wicked, basically. Then,
not at all.
I mean, Pete, you're here obviously to talk about the BAFCA conventions, the British American Football Coaches Association. Do you want to enlighten us a little bit more on these courses that they're holding? Sure.
Well, BAFCA's the British American Football Coaches Association, as you say. We've been going for quite some time now. I've been involved with BAFCA since the 90s, and originally I was worked with them in establishing the coaching programme and the education programme that we've got. It's had a bit of a revamp, and as such we're launching these courses up and down the country to try and ensure that we get a good quality of educated coach who are not only qualified but also can become insured to coach players, because obviously our sport's so dangerous. It's really important that our players are entrusted with coaches who are equipped with the basic standards for safety and looking after the players. So level one's the award that's going out around the country at the moment, and level one's essentially focuses on safety of the players, and it also looks at blocking and tackling, and it's all about trying to get a basic level of understanding for all coaches who will be involved with players, just to make sure that they're working safely and in a safe environment.
I mean, I did the class a few years ago, doing my level one, and I know the kind of day to expect, but people who haven't been on it, do you want to tell them what they're going to expect from that day and how long it's going to be on for?
Sure, it's a full day. The course itself starts at usually about 9:30 in the morning, goes right through to 5 o'clock, and we usually do 3 dedicated sessions, so a session on safety, a session on blocking, a session on tackling. We then usually we ask the candidates to go through some practical experiences as well. We'll actually take part in trying to teach one another and coach one another the fundamentals of those two elements of the blocking and tackling, and then there's an assessment at the end of the day as well. So hopefully what we get at the end of the day is more knowledgeable coaches who will eventually become qualified to go out and coach.
I mean, obviously, but you talk about the three things you're tackling, and obviously safety being the key aspect of it. What kind of things would we be teaching in relation to the safety part?
Well, one of the things is quite simply is about equipment. We're talking about how to use equipment safely, and also making sure that our players make contact with the helmets appropriately. We want to make sure that we're teaching players to not lead with the head, and that they're always seeing what they're hitting, so that essentially we're trying to avoid as much as possible players injuring themselves by not knowing how to tackle or how to block.
I mean, I suppose that's stopping what video we saw on Facebook recently about that American player, the young guy who tried to spear in a tackle and ended up a paraplegic. That's the kind of thing we're trying to avoid here, and thankfully we've not heard of that happen in the UK.
No.
But that's obviously down to BAFCA and what you guys are doing and teaching people the right thing.
Well, unfortunately, our sport is it's a collision sport, so accidents do happen. We've all seen nasty injuries. But what we're trying to do is take away bad technique and making sure that players are not using equipment inappropriately, not going into contact inappropriately. Sometimes accidents will happen, but ideally what we want to make sure is that players themselves know what to do when they hit in the field. We're not risking complete novices out in the field who are more likely to injure themselves.
I mean, obviously, the good thing you would like to have people involved in the sport. Now, if somebody want to come along to BAFCA coaching sessions, they might know the game, but they might not necessarily played or coached before. Is that going to be a disadvantage to them, or anybody welcome to come along?
Well, anybody's welcome to come along. However, an understanding and a knowledge of the game would obviously be beneficial. However, it's not necessary that you've ever played before. In fact, I can name quite a few coaches that work up and down the country who have never really played to any great level, and are some of our best coaches. So a good knowledge, a good understanding of the game will be helpful, but essentially all you need to do is you sign up to the course through using the application form on the BAFCA website. The cost for the course for a level 1 course is £35, and then you go along and it's a full day of course, and the resources will be supplied to you on the day as well.
So where are these coaching sessions taking place then? Are they, you say across the country, whereabout are they actually going to be situated about?
Well, the one in Scotland is at Edinburgh Napier University, which is on the 31st of March, and so that's at the Site Hill campus. And I know that there's other courses run up and down the country. I know there's one in Northumbria, there's one at John Moores in Liverpool.
And there's Birmingham University as well, in Bristol as well.
Birmingham, Bristol, yep. So we try as much as possible. We run these sessions in the spring, getting ready for Senior League, and we run them again in the autumn so that we're getting ready for University League. So we try and get these level 1s up and down the country so that we're getting a new strand of coach coming in every year, twice a year.
Good. I mean, obviously we'll put the dates up and the locations on our Facebook page the next coming day or so. Pete, who's going to be running these classes then? What kind of coaches are going to be running these? Obviously it's going to be experienced coaches. Are you taking the one in Edinburgh?
Oddly enough, I'm not. No, we're actually bringing in a couple of experienced coaches from down south. It's Matt Roberts and Neil Duff, I think it is. Sorry, I don't know his name. So there's a couple of coaches coming up from England who'll be doing the courses, and again the idea is that we're bringing in coaches with different experiences and different backgrounds, so that coaches in Scotland are exposed to coaches from elsewhere and vice versa.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to get involved, what website do they go and visit?
It's the BAFCA website, which is British American Football Coaches Association, and you get a simple Google search. Well, you should get it straight away.
Okay. Well, we'll put that up on our Facebook page as well, so people can obviously go and click onto the link and actually download the application and apply for it. If you've got any questions, certainly get in contact with ourselves on Facebook, on Gridiron TV, and we're quite happy to help you out and guide you in the right direction of a coach with experience who's going to be involved on the day. Hi, welcome back to Gridiron TV. Me and Alan are now going to talk about last week's fixtures and also the semi-finals, which has been taking place this Saturday. Alan, some cracking games from the weekend. What game sort of specifically stood out for you as the best game of the week? Yeah,
well, let's start up north. We were talking about Loughborough previously, have a good result against Stirling. They then travelled north again to Newcastle for a team that a lot of people tout as being really strong, really well drilled and regimented. Final result, it was 21-8 to Loughborough, so again they took their power on the road and managed to get it done. So I think some people will be surprised at that, but they now march on for at least one more game, maybe two.
I mean, a convincing result that sort of stood out for me was certainly the Hertfordshire Hurricanes 63-0 against Cardiff Cobras. I mean, you wouldn't think when you get to a quarter final of a University Bowl game that someone would turn a team over with such, relative ease.
No, that's right. I mean, a lot of people were saying, Hertfordshire had a couple of weeks off. Might be a bit rusty, and I know we mentioned it before about first round buys and whether it's a good thing or not, but they've shown clearly here that they've still got the power. 63 points. Facing Loughborough, who've actually, incidentally, they scored 63 points in their last 2 games. So that's going to be a difficult one for them. I think Hertfordshire still have the power to go through on that one. Yeah,
and we look at the Giants that are Birmingham Lions, and Birmingham have been there consistently for 4 years now, current champions in the bowl. Do you see anybody beating them?
I don't think so. A couple of weeks ago I said I think they would make it all the way, and I still believe that. Strong result before. It's going to be a difficult game for them this week. So
I mean, 47-8 against Hallam Warriors. I mean, Hallam Warriors have been fantastic all season.
Yeah.
And they get turned over by such a big score against a very dominant team.
Yeah, well, Hallam are the top scoring team in the whole league this year, almost 500 points all season. So that's impressive. But yeah, they got a big result against them. So.
When we look at the bowl as well, I think a lot of the games in the bowl were certainly close. I would look at Edinburgh losing to Sheffield 10-0. That's a big upset for Edinburgh, who went all the way to Leeds and into Sheffield with 20 guys, played Ironman football both ways, and they lose 10-0. Yeah,
that could have been a dream story, having such a small squad coming back, just make it into the playoffs with the last result of the regular season, and then going down to Leeds before pipping them in the post, but wasn't to be, unfortunately.
Then we look at Bathcallar Bays, who beat Plymouth 14-12. Another very close game, two sort of South England rivals. Did you predict the Bath that they're going to go all the way as well?
I think so. That was closer than what a lot of people expected, but a lot of people again thought it was going to be the key fixture for this last week. Really close result, just a couple of points in it. So that must boost their confidence, certainly. I think they possibly have what it takes to go further, but you're going to have to work hard for it. Yeah, definitely do. I think UAE Pirates as well, who basically took on Solent, won 33-23. Another good win for the UAE as well. Yep, so they're up against the Sabres this week. Out of the remaining teams, they are all 5-3. Sabres 6-2, so they've got a little bit of advantage. Had that first round bye as well, so I think it'd be a bit closer, but they could have the edge on that one. Just having the stronger regular season and having that time off in the first round just to rest and get planned for the next games. Yeah, and also I had NTU against Northumbria. They travelled all the way up to Northumbria and won convincingly again. I mean, they seem to be, putting the points up there and showing people and sending shockwaves through the league and saying, we're here for the championship. Sorry, the plate game. Definitely, their 2012 season's been incredible. Great turnaround for them. Some big results previous weeks and as well as this week. So, whilst I said Bath could have a good game, I think probably head-to-head between them, NTU will still be able to continue their run. The more dominant side, you think? I think so. They've got some really key players, some great matchups there. So we look at the semi-finals and how they're lining up this weekend. We've got a big one here: Loughborough against Hertfordshire Hurricanes. Who do you fancy? I fancy Loughborough. Yeah, well, I think Loughborough, top of my head. I really do. I think they're a strong, dominant side. I spoke to Paul Sharratt, just the other day there after the Newcastle game. He did say that he thought that they made it harder than it should have been. But I think travelling away to these big distances to Stirling and to Newcastle, do you think that's going to have a bit of an effect on the players come this weekend? Ordinarily, but with 2 big wins like that on the road, that's got to boost your confidence. It's whether or not it catches up with them for the 3rd time in a row. I'm going to go against you. I'm going to say Hertfordshire here. Okay. Some really big numbers all year. Points, offense scoring points, defense denying other teams' points. And then with their home field advantage, I think I'm going to put them this week. Okay. Now, so we look at the other semi-final where we've got Southampton Stangs against Birmingham Lions. I mean, we've got to look at Birmingham Lions. You can't really see past them. They're a very dominant, physical side. Certainly. Did you think the Southampton can maybe come up and cause an upset? I mean, it's going to be difficult. They've been there before. They've been to the finals before. Trying to work their way back. But like you said, Birmingham just been so strong all year, so consistent. Going for 4 finals in 4 years. So. Yep, I really think they're going to push through in this one. Okay, so we'll go on to the plate now. The plate, we'll look at the UEA against Sheffield Sabres. I quite fancy Sheffield in that one. Yeah, I'm going to join you on that one. They're both looking for that first finals appearance for themselves. But yeah, regular season record and So the last couple of weeks, I think, is going to push them through on it.
I mean, also that big win for Bath against Plymouth has managed to give them home field advantage for the game against NTU. Now, that's going to be a big advantage for them, isn't it? They've got to surely say to themselves, well, we've got this far, we've now gained the home field advantage. Can they take it that next step further?
I think so. I mean, a couple of wins against Southern Coast teams is really going to push them through, but you know, home field advantage definitely big at this point. Give you that little bit more resting and support from your fans. But NTU, like I said, consistent through 2-12. Some big plays, some big scores, especially last week. If they can manage the road trip and get themselves organised, then I think they'll go through. Okay. Well, I'll go with Bath on that one, then I'll go against you. Going against again.
But there's a very exciting weekend coming up. It's going to be absolutely fantastic games. I mean, what's your game of each from the bowl and from the plate? What's your game?
From the bowl, probably Loughborough Hertfordshire. It's kind of one of those games. It could be a big blowout, or it could be down to the last play of the game for the game-winning score. So yeah, looking forward to that one.
And from the plate?
Plate, I think actually NTU and Bath. That's going to intrigue me more. Whether or not that home field advantage kicks in or not.
Well, I mean, all very good games coming up this weekend. And just remember, Gridiron TV will be in Leeds at the John Charles Stadium on April the 21st to film the games on behalf of BAFCA. If you want to be involved, if you want any questions you want to ask us about those games, or if you want to be involved with Gridiron TV on the day, please get in contact with us on our webpage or our Facebook page, and more than happy to have you come along and assist the team. Next we'll be talking to Gareth Bateman. Gareth Bateman has recently filmed a video based on the Hertfordshire Hurricanes and how their season's progressed throughout this season. We'll be talking to Gareth about that and why he chose to make that film, and we'll be showing the film shortly after his interview. So don't go away, we'll be right back. Okay, I'm now joined by Gareth Bateman from the Hertfordshire Hurricanes. Gareth, thanks for joining us on Gridiron TV tonight. Gareth, I wanted to have a chat with you about your video that you put out, the thing about the Hurricanes season. What made you come about that? What made you sort of record that for the team?
Well, basically, as a requirement for my degree, I had to produce a 3-minute documentary, and we toyed around with a couple of ideas before deciding on the Hurricanes, but none of them we weren't really enthusiastic about any of them. But because I'm already a part of the Hurricanes, it meant I've got access to the team. Well, getting permission to film wouldn't be hard. The players, we filmed with quite a few players, and they were all up for getting involved. So I just figured we could produce something good from that, and also use it to promote the sport and the team as well.
I mean, I saw the video. It's absolutely fantastic, and it's a pity more teams aren't doing the kind of thing that you're doing, Gareth. I mean, so you're doing it for your university part. You play yourself as well, and any American football player wants to be on film. we all know that from my past experiences as well. Now, I mean, the Hurricanes. Let's talk about their season so far. How do you feel? How confident do you feel you're going to make it to the final?
I don't really want to comment on that, just in case we don't. Because I've played. This is my 5th season I've played, and I've never been on a team that's made it to the playoffs before. So this is a whole new experience for me. And I'm quite confident because our track record this season is pretty good. And people were expecting us to have a tough game against Cardiff, and we put up 63 points on them, and they didn't score against us, which was good. Yeah. So I'm feeling quite confident in the team. Yeah, I do think we do have what it takes to get to the final. Yeah.
Gareth, you talked about you're looking at the in-depth of guys playing on the line, the ins and outs of it. Let's go back to the game this weekend. You've got a tough opponent in Loughborough Aces, and I mean I saw Loughborough first hand against Stirling. Now Stirling were dominant throughout the Scottish Conference, but then they come up against a team such as Loughborough, who had a difficult section, should I say, with the Birmingham Lions. Now, have you saw much about Loughborough? Do you know what kind of game they're going to bring on the day?
I've seen. I think it was the video what you guys posted up on Facebook. I think I seen. I didn't sell that much. It looked like quite a good competition. I noticed that their linemen, especially the offensive linemen, like to cut block, which is something that I don't think anyone we've played so far has really done. And also, they just seem like the linemen, they know what they're doing. They seem quite tough, they're quite agile. So it's going to be quite a competitive game, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put you on the spot as well. Look at the Birmingham game as well. Who do you fancy out of the two of them?
I don't know really.
Who would you want to meet in the final?
Who would I want to meet?
Southampton, Birmingham.
I don't know really. Maybe Birmingham because like before I came to university, I didn't really know much about university football. And Birmingham Lions was the name that kept coming up when people were talking about it. So I think it would be good to face them in the final. Plus, I have a friend who's part of their team, so it'd be nice to beat them just so I can rub it into him.
I mean, they're a tough side. I mean, I think you get to this stage in the season, though, there's no easy sides. There's no easy teams to play. I mean, you've got Southampton yourselves, you've got Loughborough, you've got Birmingham. Either way, it's shaping up to be a fantastic final, and certainly, hopefully, Gridiron TV will be there, and we will hope to see you guys there on the field. And I certainly wish you all the very best in the up-and-coming game this weekend. And we'll keep a close eye on the fixtures and the scores and see how you get on. But I mean, I won't keep you guys. I know you've got training tonight, and I appreciate you joining me on the show. We'll get your video up there, and we'll show people what Hurricane football's all about.
All right, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, buddy.
At the age of about 16, after playing soccer football for about 8 years for a team, I just wanted to try something new, different, that a lot of my friends wouldn't have known about. My older brother was interested in football, sort of watching it, and I just realised that there was a local team which I could join. So I just went along once, just to give it a try. From that moment on, I loved it, and I've played it for 6 years now. Describe it as a game which incorporates everything of everyone, sort of any size of player could play it. And it's a violent game, you can get all your anger out. So just violent. The game allows for anyone, but it helps to have a grit about you to try your best and to just show yourself up, make yourself a better player.
But it was also my fault because I should have been able to better to whack up as well. So,
Teamwork is key in this sport. I'd say it's massively important. Easily, of any sport I've ever played, you can have sort of 10 players going all out, really working hard. And if one person isn't, that's all over. The mentality of football is massive as well. You need to be able to learn so much. You have to have focus, aggression, just putting body. I mean, I don't have the biggest body, and my mentality just gets me through every game as one of the better players. I'd say you'll go on fine in this sport as long as you give it all your all. If you don't try hard, you'll find that the game just passes you by, you won't really get involved. But if you try hard, then you're bound to love it. I met so many new people who I wouldn't believe myself to have known any other way, of all walks of life. To me personally, it means everything. I could easily go through life with mediocre jobs and just getting by. As long as I have football on a Sunday, that's my life, I love it.
Well, sadly, that's all we've got time for in this episode of Gridiron TV. Again, thanks to Alan for joining us on tonight's show. Alan, do you want to give us a quick breakdown of the semi-finals for this weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got that Loughborough game against Hertfordshire, one of the key ones, could go either way. And then we've got a Birmingham Southampton. So again, two big games. I think a lot of people will be looking forward to those games. Plate-wise, again, Bath and NTU, probably the big one out of the two. Could go either way. We've both made our predictions, so we'll see who's right on that one.
We'll see, yep.
And then Sheffield and UAE. So, again, if any of you guys out there have any predictions of who you think is going to win, do get in touch with us, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. Again, thanks very much, Alan, for joining us again. So if you want to get in contact with Gridiron TV, you can get us on Facebook at Gridiron TV. We're also on Twitter at Gridiron_TV, and we're also on email at GridironTV@gmail.com. Again, as Alan says, if you want to get your team involved on the show, you will just email us, get in contact with us on Twitter or Facebook, and you can send us a video footage of your team, and we're more than happy to cover you. So from all here at Gridiron TV, from myself and from Alan, thanks very much and good night.
Night.